I was permanently disabled in Vietnam while serving as a Marine infantry officer. But despite my need to justify all the killing and the deaths of so many of my friends, I can't. Because I saw that any good we might have done in Vietnam has long since been lost in the misery and suffering of a war that still has no end in sight. Please, write your congressman and demand an end to this war now.
The Vietnam War has lasted longer now than any other war in the history of this country. It has succeeded only in tearing apart the fabric of our society. It's turned families against families. It's driven thousands into exile and thousands more into despair. It has helped us to write the saddest chapter in the history of the United States. As one who fought in Vietnam and who has seen firsthand the emptiness of our policy, I want you to consider, how do you ask a man to be the last to die in Vietnam? How do you ask a man to be the last to die for a mistake? 73% of the American people say they want us out of Vietnam by the end of this year. Please, make yourself heard. Write your senators and congressmen and ask them to vote for legislation to end this war now.
Where does your tax dollar go? 17% of the pie goes for human resources, such as social welfare, housing, labor, community development. Another piece goes for education, transportation, space, agriculture, and other costs of government. Where does the rest of the pie go? To the military to pay for war. Past wars, the present war, preparation for future wars. Nearly 2/3 of your tax dollar is blown on war. Isn't it time we stopped this tragic waste and saved a bigger piece of the pie for the things the country really needs? An end to the war is still up in the air. This election year, work to really end it.
End it. Right now. Write your congressman. And for God's sake, tell them to support the December 31st pullout.
When they divide up the pie in Washington, do you ever wonder who gets the biggest slice?
Well, not Orangeburg, that's really...
Now for the jet.
Most of your taxes go to pay for wars, past, present, and future. What does your money buy? It buys you Vietnam, and with it, inflation, unemployment, disunity, and death. It buys you bombs instead of schools, defoliation instead of clean air and water, tanks instead of trains, and destroys homes instead of building them. Isn't it time we got out of their country and back into ours? Write your congressman. Tell him you need a bigger piece of the pie now.
Our government spends $2.5 million an hour, 24 hours a day, on a war in Vietnam. That's enough money to give this kid and 8 million others like him a $2,400 a year college scholarship instead of a dead-end job. What's more important, the war or his future? It's your money. Write your congressmen and senators in care of Washington, D.C., and tell them how you want it spent.
This war is killing us. One more death is one too many. Write your congressman today.